guys, welcome back to my channel. So since my last haul video, I have gotten so many questions about these two IT Cosmetics products that I did show, and one is the concealer and the other one is the corrector, and they're both items for underneath your eyes. So what I'm going to do in this video is just show you guys a live demo on how I use both of them, and then also I have two little tricks that I want to share with you guys on how I prevent creasing and fading of my concealer underneath my eyes. Pretty much on an everyday basis, I do those two steps just to make sure that there's no creasing and no fading and that everything lasts all day long. Now on a Monday through Friday basis, I really only use the corrector, and when I show you guys the little demonstration, you will definitely understand why. It's so pigmented and it does enough work on its own, but for days when I want a really bright under eye and as much maximum coverage as I can get, I do layer the concealer on top of it. So I'm going to show you guys both with just this, the corrector, and then with the concealer on top of it, but I just want to let you guys know that I don't do that on an everyday basis. I only use the concealer on top of it for those days where I really want my makeup to look amazing, if I know I'm going to be taking pictures or if I'm going to be going out for a special event or something like that. So this is the finished look right here. I actually do have the corrector and then the concealer on top of it. I'm going to go into the shades, the prices, all the details in the demo. So without further ado, if you guys want to see how I conceal and highlight my, well, not highlight my under eye circles, but highlights my face while also concealing my under eye circles, then just keep on watching. Okay, so I zoomed you babies in so you could see exactly what I'm talking about. So the first thing that I'm going to start off by doing is priming my under eyes, pretty similar to the same way that you would prime your lid before you apply eyeshadow on when you don't want any creasing and you want everything to last all day long. It's the same exact kind of concept for the bottom of my eye. So all that I have on my under eyes right now, because I do this first thing when I wake up in the morning, is my Undereye Moisturizer, and right now I'm using one by Cerave. I will try to get a little picture of it and put it right here, or at least the name. So I put that on this morning about an hour ago, so it really had time to set in. It's not greasy on my eyes anymore and there's not too much slip going on. So the next thing that I'm going to do, and I'm telling you guys this helped so much with creasing underneath my eyes, is I'm going to use a makeup setting spray with a Q-tip, and I'm just going to apply this right underneath. Now if you want to spray this right onto the Q-tip, you can definitely do that, but I just like to dip my Q-tip right in there. And I'm using Skindinavia, which you can find at Sephora, but you definitely don't have to stick with that setting spray. You can use Urban Decay, you can use Model in a Bottle, whatever you have laying around. So all that I'm going to do is just put this on my entire under eye, and I think what I'm going to do is just do one eye because I want you guys to see the difference, and then I'll do the other one off camera. Now normally I do this step and my under eye routine before I do my foundation, but just for the sake of this video, I wanted everything else finished so you guys could see how everything looks without concealer, and I feel like it's such an essential step. I feel like I just look so much more awake and my face looks a lot more brighter, and it's definitely something that I find necessary. So okay, after I put that underneath my eyes, I'm just going to sit and let it dry for about 1 minute. You can definitely just fan it to make the whole process a little bit faster. Okay, so once that has set in, now we're gonna go over on top of that with an eyeshadow primer. The one that I'm using is by Milani. It's just called their eyeshadow primer, and you can use any one that you have laying around. Again, for all of these steps, you don't have to use the exact products that I'm using. I actually switch it up quite often. I've used the Urban Decay Primer Potion, I've used Too Faced Shadow Insurance, and they all pretty much do the same thing. So I'm just going to apply a thin layer of that. Okay, so those two steps are really going to prevent any fading or creasing throughout the day, and after it's set and it's completely dry, we can finally move on to the makeup. So the first item that I'm going to talk with you guys about today is the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Corrector in the shade Light, and I believe that this does come in 3 different shades: light, medium, and deep, I believe is the name of the dark shade. I will have all the information down below. You can find this at Ulta, and this is actually around $29 or $30, but I really love this stuff. Even though it is an under eye corrector, I really find that it gives really good coverage, and I use this pretty often every single day throughout the week without even putting another concealer on top of it. I will just use the corrector. So really quickly, what I want to do is show you guys on this eye what type of coverage it gives me. So I'm going to go in with this HD concealer brush by, who's this by? By Velvet Beauty. just like that. You can use your fingers. It's a really dense cream. After I apply it with my brush, I always like to go in and pat it out with my fingers because the warmth of my fingers really help to kind of smooth it out and really buff in the product well. So quickly, I'm just going to apply it with the brush and then I'm going to buff it out using my fingers. Okay, and it did mess up my makeup a little bit because again, I like to usually do this step before I move on to my foundation because you could kind of see where the line stops. So what I'm going to do is just take a brush. This is by Real Techniques. It's called the Expert Face Brush, and I'm just going to go around the edges and basically just buff out this line so that it blends in and there's not just a harsh line where this stops. And you guys can see that I like to bring it down pretty far because it really does highlight my face at the same time as concealing those dark under eye circles. Okay, so there, hopefully you can see the difference. This eye just has the corrector and this eye right here has nothing. You can see that it looks a lot more tired. You can definitely see the bag underneath my eye. And here I just look more fresh and awakened and bright and alive for the day. So again, a lot of times I will just stop right here because I feel like this gives a ton of coverage and that's good enough for during the week. But if I really, really want my eyes to stand out and I want that kind of Kim Kardashian under eye, usually not that often because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it is pretty extreme. So only if I'm going like out on a dinner date or out with my friends or something on the weekend, that's the only time that I will go ahead and do this next step. And that's where this product comes in, and this is the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer. So first I showed you guys the corrector and now this is the concealer. And it's funny because the corrector is actually more expensive than the concealer. I believe this is around $24, and again, you could find the whole line at Ulta. So what I'm going to do is put a tiny little bit of this, and I mean a tiny little bit. You guys have no idea how much pigmentation this stuff has. I would probably compare it to the Kat Von D Lock-It Tattoo Concealer and also MAC's Pro Longwear Concealer, but I find that this does not crease on me as much as the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer does. So I'm gonna take the tiniest little dot and I will show you guys what I'm talking about. Like basically almost nothing is on there. Tiniest little dot ever. This is also in the shade Light. I do have more of a medium skin tone, but I always like my concealer to be on the lighter side to really highlight my face. And I believe that this comes in about 4 or 5 different shades. So what I'm gonna do is apply this right over where we applied the corrector. And I actually even applied way too much, to be honest with you guys. You need the littlest amount of this. Then I'm just going to blend out using my finger because I do find that is the easiest technique. If you want, you can use a wet beauty blender or a wet sponge, and that works great as well. Okay, so before I blend that out, can you guys see how extreme? It's very bright, it definitely highlights a lot, and I love that it does not crease. So now I'm gonna go back in with my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush and blend this out. Again, I definitely think it is a lot easier to apply this before your foundation, so that way you can really buff it out and make sure that all the lines are seamless. Lastly, you definitely wanna make sure to set this. So what I'm going to use is this banana shade right here, which is from the Anastasia Contour Kit. You can find this at Sephora and online. I believe it is out of stock right now because it's highly sought after, but don't worry, I'm going to have a review and demo how I use this whole palette to contour my face. But for right now, I'm just using this shade right here, which is the banana shade right in the middle, and I'm using a setting brush by Real Techniques, and I'm just going to very lightly put this over my eye to set all that cream concealer. Okay guys, and that is actually the completed look right here, and hopefully you can see a major difference of this eye compared to this eye right here, which definitely looks a lot more tired and just not as awakened and bright and fresh as this side of my face. And again, this is only a routine that I will do with both the concealer and the corrector for special events or when I really want to take time on my makeup. Because to be honest, I normally just will use the corrector instead of putting the concealer on top of it. It's definitely my favorite of the two, and if you could only afford one, I would definitely say go with the corrector because it's a little bit more practical for every day. But if you want that intense coverage for special events and stuff like that, I definitely do recommend the concealer as well. So I'm going to go even out the other side side of my face, and I will be right back to show you guys the finished look. Okay guys, and again, that is the finished look. I did go ahead and blend in the edge of the concealer a little bit more into my foundation because you definitely want to make sure to blend with that bright under eye concealer look. That is definitely the key. Blend, and then when you think you don't have to blend anymore, blend a little bit more. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to request anything down below that you would like to see in a future video. Thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you all again very soon. Mwah. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So since my last haul, I have gotten so many requests from you guys about, that doesn't make sense. Oh my gosh, stop texting me, please. Nobody ever texts me when I'm not filming, but then I turn record and everyone and their mama decides to text me. Ugh. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So since my last haul, I showed you guys my new Bye Cosmetics. Okay, that was wrong. A little bit more expensive than the concealer. I believe that this is only $24 and then the concealer is, no wait, I mixed that up.